Well, you were at Harvard or something. So, you know. So I'm heavily flirting with Noah before this con. We made plans to, like, go out on a date, sort of, like, to a movie, right? And so we go, like, we arrive at the con and we hang out, and then...
The date never happened.
Yeah, the date didn't happen, just to clarify. So we went to the con and we were hanging out.
No, I was just being dramatic.
And then that night on Friday night, they kind of like ditched me. They were like, hey, I'm going to go hang out with Casey and Nick, who were rooming with Noah.
And they were roommates.
And they're also like, they live really nearby. So they live nearby to each other, so they're all rooming together.
At this point, these two were dating.
Okay.
Noah and, or not Noah, Nick and Casey were dating at this point.
Okay.
So...
It's complicated shit.
So I was hanging out with Elliot that night instead, which is fine. Or not Elliot, I was hanging out with... I'm thinking of Chino, sorry. Chino's kind of separate, but we were hanging out.
Chino's separate.
Chino, like, has no drama. He's just, like, kind of by proxy there.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha.
I'm hanging out with other people that day. Saturday comes. I'm supposed to do Red Riot Hood with Noah in order to do Big Bad Wolf, Bakugo, and Red Riot Hood.
Nice.
So
the costumes were slapping. They were great. They still are. But then this shit happened.
I made both of them.
It was great.
I made both of our costumes, and I'm really sad because I really liked them, but now I don't cosplay that anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
shit mainly started Saturday night.
Yeah, most of the stuff happened Saturday night.
Because what happened was Casey introduced Elliot and Noah.
No, they weren't.
Or
they hadn't.
that wasn't. Yeah,
that was
Sunday morning.
That was Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
Okay, so Saturday night
was.
We're hanging out with. I'm like hanging out with Noah, and like we're in our cosplays now because we had switched over. I had done a different panel for a different fandom at this point, whatever. And then he's like, "Hey, can I?"
This is all so close together.
It's perfect.
I can have Casey take photographs, and Nick can join us in our IU. And I was kind of like, okay.
Alright.
Because, like, I don't get along with Casey. We have beef. Like, previous beef. Like,
I remember all that shit.
I do not get along with Casey.
Oh, no.
I have no beef with Nick at this point. So, me and Casey hate each other's guts. So, I was kind of like, okay, we can hang out with them, whatever, because they're friends. So, Noah and Casey are friends. So, Casey comes along, and Casey acts all fake. He's like, hi, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in forever. And I'm kind of like, interesting. Interesting. The last time I saw you, you tried to sexually assault me.
Interesting.
And the time before that, you
it's time
were...
for me to kill a man.
You were crying your eyes out about not wanting to date Nick in a hotel room when you were still dating Becca.
Which I was on the other side of the conversation with talking to Nick, who was also saying this wasn't supposed to happen. They ended up dating the day after.
Terrible.
They started dating the day after. It was terrible.
Yeah.
I knew it was not going to go well.
What logic is this?
Anyway.
No.
So, Casey takes photos of me and Noah, and it's awkward, but it's tolerable. I have no beef with Nick. Nick is fine. Like, he's just kind of there. Yeah. He's okay. And then, I think, was it Saturday morning that Nick came to us crying?
It was Sunday morning at the High Q meetup. We were just kind of there, and then suddenly Nick joined with Noah, came running into the room. Nick was crying and talking to Noah about stuff. So they were talking. Cry and Nick was crying.
Yeah. So like all of the stuff Saturday night was fine, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna leave, and like I went back to my hotel room. I was fine. Sunday, I'm doing Haikyuu. I'm not cosplaying with him that day, and like I'm just hanging out, and I'm like at the Haikyuu meetup, and like hanging out with, I don't remember who, but like I'm hanging out with someone who's not them, and then
I think at that point I'm pretty sure you're hanging out with Rivers.
Oh yeah, I was hanging out with Rivers. Rivers with me. And then I think Noah was in the room with me, but I wasn't like hanging out with him exactly. And so Nick like comes in and he's like crying. Like he's like crying really bad.
And immediately runs
And
to Noah and
immediately,
Elliot.
Like Noah and Elliot are like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Okay."
They had
weird.
just met.
They had just met that morning. My ex Elliot, who I'm on good terms with, and then
Elliot's
Noah,
really sweet.
Noah, who I was flirting with very heavily and was interested in dating. So they both go and comfort Noah, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't really fucking care about your beef with Casey. Like, I don't care. And basically the tea was like, Casey was like, I don't want to drive home with them. Like, I feel upset, and like, I don't want to go home with this person. And I'm like, but you drove them here. They're dating you.
Yeah. They
They were together, and they live in Illinois.
Yeah,
So
they
were
broke up.
like-
They broke up that day.
Yeah, they did. Casey and Nick broke up that
part
day.
of why Nick was crying was because he was saying, I think Casey wants to break up with me. I think he's going to leave me here, and was just freaking out.
And that's true because Casey was saying that.
Yes.
Casey was like, I don't want to drive him home. I want to like leave him here and have him just figure it out. So like,
bitch.
yeah, Casey's black. Casey has some problems.
Bad.
So I'm kind of like, this is not my problem anymore. Like, I don't fucking care about Casey. So I go off and like hang out with Rivers and Chino and whatever for a little bit. Later on, I'm like walking.
I bailed as soon as possible.
Yeah, you bailed. I saw you like leave.
Once Finn got there, I was gone.
You were like, I gotta go.
We grabbed I forget who, but we just left.
You just
Yeah.
And actually went to go hang out with Chino.
So then it was
Cecil, that's where I went to.
yeah. So it was
that name.
Sunday. It was like mid-afternoon. It was like before everyone starts leaving, but it was like starting to be like when people started preparing to leave. So it was probably like noon or 1 in the afternoon. And I'm like chilling in the hallway with a couple people. And then I see like this big group with Elliot, Noah, I think Nick as well.
Probably.
Right? Yeah, because it was Nick who had something that they needed to fix. Nick and Jay. Casey's not there, and I don't really care. I don't notice that much. And Elliot and Noah are in the very, very back. And I see them, like, they're holding hands, and I'm kind of like, okay, whatever, I don't care. Like, I'm just kind of dismissing it to, like, okay, they're just friends. Like, whatever. It's not really that big of a deal. Like, okay, maybe I'm just sensitive because, like, he ditched me all this weekend. And at this point, I'm kind of bitter. I'm kind of like, you fucking ditched me this whole ass weekend.
Sorry,
Like,
I'm taking
when
pictures
we-
of this beautiful
When
truck.
we planned, like, we had planned to go out on a date on Saturday night, and he ditched me. So I was kind of like, okay, I'm kind of fucking over this.
Yeah,
At this
I did
point,
too.
I was kind of like, I'm fucking annoyed. Like, I don't care anymore. Whatever. But, so I go to Jay after I give Nick my, like, my super glue so Nick can fix whatever their headband has. So I go to Jay and I'm like, hey, Jay, what's going on? Because Jay has, like, all this cosplay info. Jay has a lot of tea.
Jay know what's happening.
Jay is, like, if they're not friends with everyone, they at least know what's happening with everybody.
Oh, that's
Jay's the
perfect.
inside man.
Yeah. So I talk to Jay. I'm like, hey, Jay, what's happening? Like, do you know anything? And Jay kind of, like, looks at me and he's like, oh, didn't you hear? And I'm like, oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Elliot and Noah started dating, like, an hour ago. And I kind of, like, look at him and I'm kind of like, but me and Noah were, like, we weren't exclusive, but we were heavily interested in each other. We were heavily saying, like, I would be interested in you, like, I
And you
wanna...
planned a date.
Yeah, like, we had planned to go on a date to explore, like, maybe dating, like, actually for real.
Yeah.
Because, like, we didn't know how our dynamic would work in real life. So, at that point, I'm kind of just fucking over it. Some shit happened with, Rivers' roommate who lost their badge and their bag. It was a production. This kid
It was
is
a
just
production.
a dumbass. They're like 15, they're addicted to cigarettes, they're smoking over his car, you know, like all this dumb shit. Like, whatever. So, I was like comforting Rivers then I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave now. So I left.
Cosplay tea is serious.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna just leave. Like, I don't care. I've done everything I wanted to. I said goodbye and I left. And then I got home and I don't think I contacted anyone. Like, I didn't contact Noah for sure. But I think
on the Monday after the con, both Elliot and Noah put something on their story. We're saying we're dating, and
it was on their profile.
Yes, I had been in contact with both Ian and Noah throughout the whole flirting thing, because both of them were telling me about how they liked each other, and so I was just confused about the whole thing.
Yeah, and you were like, what's happening?
Because then I also knew that Ian and Elliot used to date.
Yeah,
because that was how we met.
Yeah, because we met through Elliot.
I was just confused about that whole thing.
Yeah, so that was happening, and I kind of like saw their profile because I was like, okay, Jay said it, but I don't know for sure. So I was kind of like, I'm gonna take this with a grain of salt, and I'm just gonna, whatever.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's not true. So I was like, whatever. Then they put it on their profile, and I was kind of like, okay, interesting. And I think it was because I kept ignoring.
Elliot.
Was it Elliot, or was it that I was ignoring Noah?
I think it was both.
I think it was both. But for some reason, I don't remember why, but Elliot DM'd me and was like, hey, are you upset at me? Like, why aren't you you seem like you're upset. And I was like, I'm kind of a little ticked off, yeah, because
understandably so.
my ex is dating the person that I was heavily romantically involved with at that point. After meeting each other an hour before that, I have no personal qualms with you dating them. It's not that serious to me. But like, if you were interested in each other, I would have rather you just told me outright, so I could have just gone on my way and had a good con without having all this bullshit happen.
Yeah.
And apparently...
Okay, let me look at that chart. I just want to read your beautiful
Yeah.
chart.
So apparently, Elliot had no clue. Elliot did not know that me and Noah were flirting at all. So Noah apparently did not tell Elliot that me and Noah were interested in each other, and Elliot felt awful. Elliot was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, like, I feel terrible.
That's a good boy. That's a genuinely good boy.
I didn't know at all. Like,
Elliot's a sweet boy. He
can do
know what is
basically
happening.
no wrong. Like, he has bad friends, but like, he's a good person. He got stuck with bad girls, but it's fine. But so I was kind of like, oh, it's fine. Like, it's not on you. That's on Noah. Like, whatever. And I think it was like 3 weeks later, and I got nothing from Noah until 3 weeks later, and he was kind of like, hey, so, like, he tried to just have, like, a regular conversation with me, and I was kind of like, I don't really want that right now. Like, you kind of owe me a little bit of an apology after that.
I just think so.
After the whole dice show
Cosplay tea is serious. It's serious.
I was like, okay, after the whole dice show
conspiracy
mess,
boards.
will you please, like, just say, like, hey, man, it was my bad?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. And I was like, okay.
Welcome to convention drama.
I was like, okay.
We could go on for hours.
Oh, but he did though. What? How would you say I didn't do anything wrong? What?
Yeah, and I'm like, okay,
What?
interesting.
Couldn't you at least feel a little bad?
And then now,
maybe?
I think they lasted like maybe a month, because now it's off their profile.
Oh yeah, it's completely off.
They are not dating each other anymore. So I don't know what happened, I haven't asked, and I don't care, but like,
no one really
they're not dating anymore.
Because then also, like, half of the pictures that were on Elliot's cosplay account, like, also, like, most of that's gone. There's, like...
Yeah, they got
like,
deleted.
Yeah.
Off of Static Shark, I think, right?
Yeah, I don't even know what happened now. That I haven't checked in, like, so long.
Yeah,
all
lot
that's
of his
gone.
cosplay stuff got deleted. So we don't know exactly what happened, but, like, he's not dating Noah anymore, and me and Noah don't talk. Me and Elliot aren't still in good terms. Like, Elliot is a sweetheart, and
you
just
jumped all over a conspiracy board.
like, he gets so much stuff. So that's everything from Daisho, I think. Is that it?
Is that it?
I
Was
think
there
so.
more?
That I can think of for that. No.
There was shit with Rivers' roommate, but that's kind of separate.
Yeah.
That's all separate drama. That wasn't like
Yeah. We could go on to the whole like Casey Nick thing, but that would take too long.
that would
that
take
took an
way
hour last
too
time.
long. We're not
God.
doing that again. So that is my con drama.